Hey guys, this is Sola Scriptura. Today I've got a pretty cool deck for you guys that I've been trying to throw together across today. Um, the idea came to me last night, just thinking about Restoration Angel and talking about Cloud Shift with a friend, and how Restoration Angel is very similar to Cloud Shift, but obviously has a body. And I've been thinking after playing a league recently that in a lot of instances, Restoration Angel is good, and in other instances she's kind of bad. There was aspects of the card that I really liked and aspects that I didn't like in certain situations where she was great, and other instances where she was just okay. And I realized a lot of it was just paying 4 mana for the blink effect, and like saving something from targeted removal is not always great. Like there's certain instances where you blow people out, and there's other instances where you just have a 3/4 flyer, which is fine, but it's just not enough for modern right now. So talking about Cloud Shift with a friend who plays like Siege Rhino kind of deck, and you blink a lot of stuff, we brought up Ephemerate, and I said, and that card's sweet. It's got rebound. That's what makes it a good card. Is you're essentially casting, you're getting 2 of the bounce effects for just 1 mana at instant speed. So even if they blow you out on like the first bounce with like a removal spell or something like that, you're gonna get another chance at it later, which just makes the card quite nice. And then I thought about trying that out in Death and Taxes, and really it started with like Leonin Arbiter and Wall of Omens, and just thinking, man, if I could ephemerate those cards, can get some serious value. So for example, ephemerating Leonin Arbiter creates a new instance of Leonin Arbiter. So after they've paid the 2 for their tax and they've gone to fetch their land, you can blink the Leonin Arbiter with Ephemerate. That creates a new instance of Leonin Arbiter that they haven't paid the tax for yet. So they have to pay the tax again or fail to find that instance. So it makes Leonin Arbiter a little bit more powerful, and you're not really even losing a card in that instance, even if they can pay it a second time. Sometimes, making them pay 4 mana to search is great. Other times, they're not going to be able to pay for it, and you've just stone rained them for like 1 mana, or you've countered their spell for 1 mana, which is great. And then Wall of Omens, being able to draw 2 cards for 1 mana is pretty powerful. And then obviously Wall of Omens itself is drawing you a card when it enters the battlefield the first time. Revoker, you can reset at a moment's notice if something scarier comes down, so you can play this out earlier. You don't have to hold on to it and wait to get them with it, which makes his 2/1 body a little bit better because he can maybe get in some attacks in the early game. And then when something scary comes down, where like you're in the instance of like, do I want to put it on this Teferi or do I want to put it on Jace? I don't really, know what's better in this spot. Whenever one of those cards does come down, you can just blink him with Ephemerate, reset him, name whatever card they just cast, really put a lot of pressure on them that way, and blow out their mana that way. Alternatively, we have Fiend Hunter, which everyone knows works very similar to Tidehollow Sculler, where if the first trigger's on the stack and you blink him, the second trigger will resolve before the first does, meaning that the first one will permanently exile whatever creature you've targeted. So the idea is just to use, play Fiend Hunter and then ephemerate him to get some value that way. Flicker Wisp. Everyone knows Flicker Wisp is quite good at instant speed when you shouldn't be able to play it, for example, and then yet you are able to play it off of like an Aether Vial. So what Flicker Wisp can do with Ephemerate is, it's your turn 3, you play Flicker Wisp, you flick a white source of mana, the white source of mana comes in untapped, and then you're able to Ephemerate your Flicker Wisp on their turn to steal their land and prevent them from doing something that turn that they normally should be able to do with the amount of mana they have. That also works for just like permanents or anything like that in general, taking away one of their creatures for that turn. So it's pretty powerful. You're essentially casting Flicker Wisp for 2 mana and then able to ephemerate it, which is quite nice. Mangara of Coriander is one that's kind of the ceiling of the deck of like Magical Christmas Land World, and I just want to see how often we get there. This guy could be really, really good with Ephemerate. You'll notice his tap clause literally says just tap, and then as a result, he exiles himself and target permanent. So if he's not around, he doesn't get exiled. And when you ephemerate him, he becomes a new version of Mangara of Coriander, similar to Leonin Arbiter, that no longer is bound by that clause, that second half of that clause. So what this can do is machine gun people's lands, essentially take out any permanent that we're worried about. Very useful. And it's basically a Vindicate on a stick that we're going to be able to reuse multiple times. For people that have played Legacy, you know that the original interaction of that was with Flicker Wisp and then Karakas, since he is a legendary creature. And then we can also do that with Restoration Angel as well. Lastly, we do have Charming Prince to act as a copy of Flicker Wisp for our own guys, or on the back end of Ephemerates, if we don't have like something good to hit, we can always get value with Charming Prince, we can always get value with Wall of Omens, and then we can always get value with Blade Splicer. So those are kind of our value engine cards of where no matter what we do with the second half of Ephemerate, we're going to be able to get some amount of value out of it and really get our opponent that way. So that's the idea. We're also running Aether Vial to build our own Ephemerates with Flicker Wisp and Restoration Angel, and also to allow us to play Mangara of Coriander, get ready to activate it, and then like be able to Flicker Wisp at instant speed, stuff like that. So a lot of tricks there. In the sideboard, we do have a few more cards that have relevant text on them for bouncing in particular. Devout Lightcaster is one of them that I'm kind of excited for. It's got protection from black, and when it enters the battlefield, you just exit target black permanent. So that can be Liliana of the Veil, it can be Death Shadow, Gurmag Angler, Bloodghast, Prized Amalgam. Technically, it could be the Thopter Foundry if they don't have mana to sacrifice it. So I'm not sure how often this is going to come in, but I think I'm going to try it against like the black-green deck as well that's running around that has the persist combo and stuff like that going on. So I think it's decent. I think this is a monster against Dredge and a monster against Death Shadow, especially if you have Ephemerate paired with it. It just gets gross very quickly, so I'm going to try that. We have another Friction Revoker on the side. I think this card's very good in the metagame right now, so we definitely want a third one available to us. Relic Warder works the exact same way as Fiend Hunter does. You can use the enter the battlefield triggers with Ephemerate with this, so you can just start machine gunning people's artifacts or enchantments. And then lastly, actually that's it. One of the other things I was thinking about is there's certain cards out there that have Revolt and stuff like that, and Revolt could work similarly. There's one called Harpooner or something like that. It's not the exact name. In fact, I probably actually have it up here, but I don't know if it's quite good enough. But it's a card that would be good against humans or something that goes wide potentially. So it says when Deadeye Harpooner enters the battlefield, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, destroy target tapped creature an opponent controls. So both halves of Ephemerate could just absolutely decimate somebody with that card. When it bounces itself, it obviously sees itself leave the battlefield. So that's something to think about. And then there's other creatures out there that say, whenever another creature would enter the battlefield under your control, you can investigate, or you can draw a card if you pay one, stuff like that to think about. Regarding recording this video, I'm actually holding a microphone right now because I'm recording on a laptop rather than my desktop, so sound quality is probably not going to be the best. I'm also watching some dogs right now, so if you hear that in the background, I do apologize for that. Okay, so we've got our first match here. Our opponent has an Urza as his profile picture there. I hope that's not the case. That's probably a more difficult matchup for us, I'd imagine. Otherwise, this hand looks really good. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I'm probably not going to make too many play-by-play commentary for these kinds of videos for now, because I'm obviously learning the deck myself, so I want to be able to give it a fair... I want to be able to play it fairly. Looks like it's probably going to be Storm based off of this start, which I would assume probably not a very good matchup for us unless we find like an Arbiter, just because it's going to be very difficult to interact with them. Path to Exiles will help, but probably not do very much. Something that would be, okay, as I say, best possible draw that's not named Lean and Arbiter, probably Aether Vial. So very glad to see that. That allows us to obviously be able to play these Path to Exiles while also still playing Wall of Omens and stuff like that, which will probably end up being important. So we're expecting a bear to come down here. Yep, it is in fact Storm. I don't think I need to path him now. I think I'm going to wait for their upkeep. I'm glad I have both of these paths because I think they usually run 8 bears now, which does mean that we need to be able to handle this. Okay, this might be a remand, which I'm okay with. It's actually one of the... Oh, it's a repeal. Okay. I think I'm okay with that. I mean, it's annoying for sure, but I think that we let that resolve. I mean, there's... Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. So we've taken him off of a turn by doing that. We've wasted his mana on his turn. Okay, so opponent has a pretty land heavy hand as well. Let's see here. I do think we just want to lead on probably Charming Prince, because there's not a lot we can do with our mana right now, and we just kind of need to get a clock going. If he remans this, that's probably okay. Go ahead and scry 2. So we're really just looking, yeah, glad that we did that. We just want both of those on the bottom. I can play Path here. I can hold up Path. I'm a little bit apprehensive to do so because I think he would have played a creature last turn. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the Vial out there, honestly. And if he just has a creature and is able to kill us as well, then so be it. I mean, our chances here are probably not very good just waiting. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be a Bolt on my Charming Prince from the main board. Be kind of surprising. Yeah, Opt makes more sense. So we'll just yield through this turn. Again, I hope this sound is coming out okay. I'm recording with a bootleg microphone. Sparkle Canal, then Serum Visions doesn't really make sense to me. I think that you would want to use Serum Visions first in case you could potentially go off this turn, but okay, so glad we played Charming Prince there. We'll certainly attack and see if he wants to trade a Goblin Electromancer that way first, because we would much rather hold on to this Path to Exile. And it's worth noting he's at 12 after taking this hit, so we've got him on a pseudo reasonable clock. As far as playing lands go, I think we can just run out this Wall of Omens for right now. And I think that, ooh, nice. This time we do want to Ephemerate, though. I mean, do want to Ephemerate. We do want to Path to Exile right now, because we don't want him to have the mana. Oh, please don't have the... Well, I guess Remand's actually fine. Yeah, that's fine. Well, we don't get to Ephemerate now, but we get to take care of that guy. We don't want him to have the ability to cast a bunch of rituals, go for Gifts Ungiven, all at instant speed. So we'll see what he can do here. Again, ideally, he just keeps whiffing. We find Leonin Arbiter here and can just really punish him. So you put one card on the bottom with that Opt. Shows a card with another. There's another Electromancer. We might just be dead at this point, would be my guess, based on the amount of digging my opponent has done. I assume we're dead. Yeah, especially if he's shocking right here. I think that we're just dead. Green mana, are we... Yeah, Manamorphosing? Okay, as I say, Manamorphose or maybe Noxious Revival, but... so yeah, probably just dead. That's fine. This matchup is not very good. Game 1, I would assume, unless we specifically can find... Yeah, so we're just dead, as long as our opponent gets the right sequence of cards. They created a deterministic loop where they essentially can deal infinite damage and infinite mana. It's not actually infinite, but for all intents and purposes, it might as well be. Yeah, they found the right pile. So what they'll do is no matter what pile we give them, they can go off pseudo indefinitely, grape shot us plus remand to generate multiple grape shots essentially, and they will kill us that way. So we're gonna take out the Revoker. I kind of want to take out the Wall just because it's not doing a lot, but I do want to leave some amount in potentially. Even Mind Sensor is gonna be great for us. Rest in Peace is gonna be great. Forge Tender potentially, just to keep guys alive. Firewalker to some extent actually does help against Storm if they don't know what they're doing, but if it's a player that knows what they're doing, they'll just remand Grape Shot and kill you that way. So I don't really like bringing Firewalker in, although I have seen people bring it in the past. So I don't know if I want Forge Tender just to like keep guys alive. I think we've got Ephemerate for that. I don't know. We'll have to look at the rest of the deck real quick. Fiend Hunter I like. They usually need a bear to go off. I am worried about their Goblin approach, honestly. Flicker Wisp could be okay. I think Restoration Angel's probably too cute and too expensive. We need to cut 2 more. haven't seen them run. Like, I've seen them run Lightning Bolt in the past, but I haven't seen them run Anger of the Gods, so it's just, I don't know. We'll try one. And I am inclined to take out Blade Splicer because it's just not doing very much, I guess, compared to, like, all of my other cards. And I really just don't know if Mangara is where we want to be or not. Like, compared to Blade Splicer, which actually can block. Can block tokens fairly well. So maybe we'll just try like this and we'll just see what happens. They could also end up being on Arya, so maybe I should have actually brought in a Relic Order for that instance, but this thing's fine. I think we'll go ahead and keep this. We've got a Wall of Omens and plenty of cards to draw with it, so I think it's fine. A lot of live top decks here. Okay, Flicker Wisp is decent. You can use that to keep them off for a little bit by like flicking away their Arya. You can reset their Arya, for example. You can reset their. You can take their bear away for the turn and keep them off of it for a turn. So he put one card on the bottom, draws. That's probably the wrong ordering, unless he just now found Serum Visions. One card on the bottom, one card on the top. Okay, we want to make sure that we put this guy in here. So Forge Cinder goes into play. This on 2. Yes, Arbiter would be great here. We do not, in fact, find Arbiter. I actually kind of just want to go ahead and put Blade Splicer in and just start putting a clock on him. Might be incorrect. There is some world where he's able to play a bear and just kill me, but he kind of has to have the nut draw, and it wouldn't be with goblins. It would be with Grape Shot. So we'll just see. It doesn't look like he's going to have it based on this outcome, or maybe he will. Okay, he does not, in fact, have it. I'm going to go ahead and put this on 3. There's a Charming Prince. The reason behind that is I'm taking away that Brawl next turn. So I want to go ahead and I think play Charming Prince, and if I can find like an Aven Mind Sensor, that would be great. Be quite good on this board. So we're going to go ahead and scry 2. There's Mangara. I don't know how greedy that is. That's the only Mangara in our deck. And it does deal with that Brawl, which we currently don't have an answer to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, actually. I'm going to go ahead and keep that. Then we will go ahead and we will attack with Golem. And that's it. So, with this Ephemerate, what we can do is we could go after Wall of Omens, or we could go after the Golem. If we go after the Golem, we'll be able to hit him for 9 next turn. 10, 11. Which does bottleneck him in some respect. Or we can double draw with Wall and try to hit something good. I think I'm going to go ahead, actually, and hit this Blade Splicer. Try to Ephemerate this Blade Splicer. And on his upkeep, or actually on this end step, we'll go ahead and we'll let this resolve, and then we're going to activate Vial and take away Brawl. So one card on the top, and I guess that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Well, this may still be okay for us. I'm supposed to, on his end step, after he resolves the opt, get priority back and take away his Brawl so that he wouldn't have it this turn and be able to do anything at instant speed with it. We'll see what happens now, though. If we can just, honestly, even just draw a Path to Exile here or something, that'd be decent. Oop, that was the wrong order. I wanted to bounce this to decide if I wanted to put the, well, I guess I'm just leaving on 3. I took the Resto Angel out, so it doesn't really matter. I can actually keep him off of Brawl as well by bouncing my Flicker Wisp twice. So yeah, if we bounce Flicker Wisp right now, we take away Brawl. We can hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. So we don't have exact lethal there. Yeah, I think since I have this Ephemerate, I'm probably just going to go after my wall and try to do something with that. There's a draw. There's Mangara that we knew about. I do want to sacrifice a Silent Clearing and see if we can't find something else. Another Silent Clearing. Unfortunately, we need to leave up 2 mana for Ephemerate to be able to beat a Remand on our Ephemerate. All right, the opponent is at 4. We've gotten to our instep, in which case we will go ahead and try to Ephemerate our Flicker Wisp. And we are glad that we brought in the Forge Tender. And he apparently has double Lightning Bolt, which is quite good. We'll prevent that one, I guess. So our opponent may have us here. If so, that's quite lucky that they had that style of hand. And it's looking like they probably do, but they might just be forced to go for it anyways. If he has a Gifts Ungiven, we just lose here. Yeah, we lose. Okay. That was still fairly close. It might not have been correct to keep Mangara. If so, we actually would have gotten Dave and Mind Sensor. So we did get punished by that, but at the same time, the opponent having double Lightning Bolt is probably what allowed that to happen anyways. So that's how it goes sometimes. We'll move on to the next game. I think that was fairly close, and I honestly think our deck has some merit for what it did. We had a lot of our cards we could have drawn. I think we flooded a little bit on lands. Having a Path to Exile would have been great there. A lot of different things that could have happened, but we did technically punt by keeping Mangara there. But that's something that's more of a once we get used to playing the matchup thing rather than the deck is just objectively bad against Storm kind of a thing. So we'll go ahead and try to get on to the next game. All right, so we are here in the second game, and this is unfortunately not very good. We will have to go ahead and mulligan this one. This hand's not much better, but I think we will go ahead and keep it. We'll get rid of this Plains, and we'll keep the Silent Clearing. Hopefully we're not against Burn. Ooh, it might be a Thoughtseize deck. It is a Thoughtseize deck, it turns out. Definitely not good that we've mulliganed either, but I think this deck in general is a lot better than regular Death and Taxes at grinding people out because we have Ephemerate for stuff like Wall of Omens. And these kinds of decks really don't want to be killing Wall of Omens. They'd rather be killing your cards that really matter. So let's see what they take here. But this hand is certainly capable of surviving a Thoughtseize. We've got lands that can actually do beneficial things for us. So every single one of our cards has meaningful text on it besides this Plains right here. And this Plains honestly says, don't get killed by Silent Clearing number 2, basically. So we'll see what happes here. I expect in the dark Phyrexian Revoker or Leanin Arbor probably go, just because the opponent might have cards that those are difficult to. Oh, okay. Well, I generally don't like Aether Vial against decks that have Thoughtseize in them because Aether Vial by itself doesn't actually do anything beneficial against a deck that's trying to grind you out. That being said, a lot of instances of Death and Taxes required you to keep an Aether Vial in the deck, and the reason behind that is that your Flicker Wisps, your Restoration Angels, and stuff like that are a lot better when they can come in at instant speed. Obviously, Restoration Angel is always able to do that, but I think I'll just play Field Rune here and just pass, yeah, because I don't know what I'm gonna name with Phyrexian Revoker right now, and I do want to get some mileage out of it because like I don't know what deck he's playing really. It's probably Jund would be my guess. But yeah, see, it could just be a random Grixis deck, and I need to know what Planeswalker to name. And hopefully we get to a point where we can protect our Phyrexian Revoker with a Flicker Wisp or an Ephemerate or something like that. Hopefully this is probably K command, I would guess, which I'm actually totally okay with. Target player destroys a card, discards a card, destroy target artifact. So like this is another reason why I don't like bringing in. Probably it just feels so bad if they run K command though. Phyrexian Revoker does. I think I will get rid of Revoker. Okay, cool. In that case, let us go ahead and play out the Mangara here, and we'll just see what happens. I'm okay with that being a kill spell, honestly. Maybe I should have actually played out Flicker Wisp and just left up Ephemerate for a kill spell specifically because they don't know that we have Ephemerate in our deck and we could just kind of get them that way. So maybe that was actually correct, but we'll have to see. The opponent's already had 2 pieces of interaction, and this might be a time where they, I guess, potentially slam Jace and bounce Mangara. I'm trying to think of like likely plays our opponent will do. I mean, obviously, Kolaghan's command here is just another beating, and at that point we would probably have to discard Ephemerate. But Thoughtseize is quite good, but something we can do about that. Our opponent's at 9 though. Is this Death Shadow that's running Kolaghan's command in the main? That's insane, dude. Please take Flicker Wisp. Please take Flicker Wisp. Oh, yes. About to teach this guy how to read a book. Give me a second. I need to hold control to make sure this works right. How do I want to go about this? Ah, there we go. Teaching that man how to read. Feels good, man. This is what the deck's about. I don't know if it's good enough, but it sure is pretty sweet. Unfortunately, the second half of Ephemerate I don't think works the way we're going to want it to, because we don't get to like cast this in response to this being put on the stack. With that being said, our opponent does have to have an answer for this. Otherwise, he's just going to get blown out, you know. So I think that's fine. There's nothing we can do about that. We don't want to cast our Path to Exile necessarily to do anything there. Yep, rebound happens. We have nothing to rebound, unfortunately. We are just going to go ahead and toss out a Flicker Wisp here, just because we have to put something into play. And if this is, in fact, Death Shadow, I do want to just hit him 3 times and win the game. And we will still have Path to Exile left up here, so we're just kind of playing stuff off the top of our deck as it comes to us. It's worth noting this Field of Ruin could be okay later, depending on like what situation he gets himself into, but I'm really not sure what that's really going to look like. It is, in fact, Death Shadow. Okay. And it's more than big enough to make our Path to Exiles look silly. Ooh, that's quite good, though. So if we Flicker Wisp, if he bolts our Flicker Wisp, we can, we'll go ahead and swing first. So if our opponent has the right piece of interaction here, being Lightning Bolt and Stubborn Denial, we're in trouble. If he has double Stubborn Denial, we're in trouble. So there's one. And then on my opponent's turn, I am going to go for the Path to Exile here. Actually, I probably should have done it then in case he has exactly Snapcaster Mage in his hand. So, like, I didn't want him to draw another Stubborn Denial or a Snapcaster Mage, and that's why I didn't try to bait out him having, like, exactly fetch land into, or, like, shock land. Okay, Fatal Push is pretty good. Well, that sucks. Okay, well, now we need another Path Exile. Wow, okay. 3 Death Shadows, and he's not drawn any cards at all. He's just drawn those by luck. That's really too bad. We'll go ahead and sacrifice this if we can't find a path off the top. Wall is okay, not ideal. Do think we get slightly better out of the sideboard against this deck, which is good. And also, just like in general, I think our deck's probably fine against this. We're just playing like a full-costed Gurmag Angler, just mono threats? Or is this Bedlam Reveler? What is this? No, it's just Gurmag Angler. Okay. Man, so he drew back-to-back-to-back threats, potentially? Let's just see what we would draw here. I don't think there's anything that saves us, but yeah, okay. I guess we should have scryed. Well, it wouldn't matter because we wouldn't be able to actually do anything at that point. So we will bring in Dismember. Revoker's probably coming out. There are potential targets that we can name out of his sideboard and stuff like that, but nothing really meaningful. Rest in peace. Oh yeah, he did kind of have like a perfect start against us though, with like the Thoughtseize into like smashing my vial into 4 threats. Yeah, Mangara is okay here. I'm just a little bit worried of like Liliana, the Last Hope, coming in and killing him. So I'm really thinking about getting rid of him because they have so many ways of like interacting with Ephemerate and Mangara, and like you have to activate Mangara before you cast Ephemerate. So like you can just get blown out somewhat easily by a lot of different things that they can have. So I think I'm going to cut him and instead rely on some other stuff to get us out of there. Okay. Devout Lightcaster is obviously the card we want to see. They have a very hard time killing that, and I mean it's got Pro Black, so it can block for quite a while. The downside is Trample still gets 3 protection, so that is a possible route to them. This is pretty close. I think I like keeping it because it's a Thoughtseize deck, and we're gonna be able to get Aether Vial down. So I think I am gonna keep it. And we've got Ephemerate, and we've got like Dismember. So you know, like chances are, like we're gonna be able to draw out of Mana Screw, and like I'd rather have multiple ways of interacting with them that they like have to Thoughtseize out of my hand in order to win the game. So if this was on the draw, I wouldn't keep this hand, but because we're going first, I'm going to. That's essentially what I'm trying to say here. Again, I think Kolaghan's Command is usually one of, maybe a 2 of in their deck, compared to, well, I guess they might have stuff in their side that would be potentially good against Aether Vial, but we'll go ahead and throw out the double Aether Vial start. We'll see if he'll Stubborn Denial this. All about getting that Stubborn Denial if so. And then next turn, we'll absolutely put Wall of Omens into play, and we'll just start drawing cards and get out of there as quickly as we can. It's a little bit weird that we're not using Charming Prince to perhaps like set ourselves up. What did he target himself? Probably targeting himself. Yeah, so he just wanted to see if he wanted to fetch there or not. Yeah, normally a lot of times we'd try to set up with Charming Prince and use Wall like plus Ephemerate to like draw the cards that we wanted. Obviously that's not the case here though. Our opponent draws a card. Ideally, they don't have an Abrade here. It doesn't look like they do. Perfect. In this case, I do think that I want to Charming Prince, and then I think I probably want to Wall of Omens after that. So the question is, like, is Charming Prince resolving more? Like, if they were to, for whatever reason, have a mana leak, which one would we want to resolve? And I think the answer is probably Wall of Omens. So I am just going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to cast Charming Prince. See if we can't scry to. Figure out what we want to draw off of this wall, essentially. And then we'll draw that. And then ideally, the following turn, we Fiend Hunter one of their threats. They are very poor at interacting with Fiend Hunter. We can try to Ephemerate and see what happens with that. So scry 2. I don't really want either of those cards, so glad we did that. And we'll just say go. And I'm a little surprised he didn't crack that fetch land because I could really punish him with Arbiter here if I had an Arbiter in my hand. Also okay with that, getting Fatal Pushed. Totally okay with that. But theoretically, our deck should be able to outlast them and grind them down quite well. I may consider, since we're going second, taking out the Aether Vials as well, heading into this next game and trying a different approach. Seeing how the deck does without Aether Vial, because we do have 23 lands, and then we've got Wall of Omens and Charming Prince to kind of smooth stuff out. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, that's so risky. Like, if I have a Leaning Arbiter, I just get you. You know, but whatever. I think he's probably, if I had to guess, he's probably going for, okay, as I say, he's probably going for K Command here. Draw a card. See if he wants to Fatal Push this or not. Ooh, rest in peace. Okay, decent. I do like that. We will put this one on 2, and we'll put the other one on 3. And I kind of want to play Rest in Peace here, even though it doesn't mean means I don't. Well, let me violin this wall first, I guess. See what happens. Because if I draw like a, okay, that's actually good. Man, I get hit by Stubborn Denial, huh? He didn't stubborn the other Aether Vial, though. And I'm okay with him, like, using a Stubborn Denial on Rest in Peace if it means I get to actually use Ephemerate and stuff. And, like, this is just so big. This just really hurts his chance to cast Gurmag Angler, his chance to cast Snapcaster Mage. So, like, the payoff here is just massive. It's worth noting it does hit our Ephemerates, but it hits him a lot more. His Gurmag Anglers are going to take a long time to come down. His Snapcaster Mages do nothing. And, yeah, like his Street Wraiths are just cyclers in his deck. They don't actually add anything. Same with his Mishra's Baubles. So it looks like he has Dismember, which is, again, kind of greedy. If I have a Flicker Wisp here, yeah, deal. I'm okay with that. But it looks like he's building up to a Death Shadow, if I had to guess here. Like, trying to get one that can be online that maybe doesn't need a active Stubborn, or they can have like an active Stubborn Denial, essentially. So, we'll see what happens. Dismember. We can get him when he fetches, potentially. Oh man, what I would not give for a Devout Lightcaster right here. We can actually get both of his guys here soon. So I'm actually going to play this Blade Splicer, which hopefully he won't crack his Polluted Delta here. And we can untap. I feel like he probably has a Fatal Push in hand. That's why he's thinking so much about... Oh, yeah. Okay, I feel like this is about to get Fatal Pushed. Which is fine. I'm fine with him tapping out as well, because then we like just get him with Fiend Hunter, you know. And he basically has to have another Death Shadow to like, even do anything. So, sure. Totally okay with this. I think we have a very high chance of winning now. And again, I need to do some magic here, so just give me a second. Okay, so I think we set it up right. Yeah, we should get both of them now. Perfect. So that's exactly what we wanted. We'll go ahead and shove with the golem now, and he'll be dead next turn to our attackers. So he basically has to have a way to get rid of our guys and do so efficiently. And really has to be able to kill Fiend Hunter. And if he doesn't have a way to trigger Revolt, Fatal Push isn't going to do it. And then we have this Dismember that can take down another Death Shadow to be small enough to where we might be able to do like a combat trick with like our Blade Splicer, First Strike kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens here. Definitely not out of the woods yet, but I'm feeling fairly good about our position, as the opponent basically has to have another Death Shadow or a way of actually killing this Fiend Hunter. Kolaghan's Command certainly buys him a lot of time. It buys him a turn. But another Kolaghan's Command can kind of just keep that turn going for a little while. So we'll see what happens here. Again, rest in peace. A little bit of negative interaction with Ephemerate there, but certainly hurting him more than it's hurting us, as Snapcaster Mage is essentially a dead card here. That being said, it can trigger Revolt while also blocking the Golem, which would be quite annoying if he's able to finagle that together. So what we would really like would be... Ooh, do we actually... Wait, is this cast from exile? If so, that's great. So that's real great. So we want to say no to that one. We also want to say no to that one. And I think that's actually going to work. Wow, I didn't even think about this when I was thinking about running Rest in Peace. This is so great. So yeah, we'll just bounce this Wall of Omens, draw a free card. I could have... Oh. I mean, sure. I could have done that with Blade Splicer, but it's, I guess, a moot point at this stage now that he's done this. So that's a great draw. We'll go ahead and swing here for lethal. See if he's got a Snapcaster Mage to block the path with. He has a Dismember. Okay. So he does get that back, but we're not going to let him block. We're just going to path him. That was a really good draw on our part, and this should kill him right here. Wow, I didn't realize the Ephemerate was going to do that. So this is my first time playing a rebound card. For some reason, I thought it sat in your graveyard, and then it cast itself from your graveyard for free. So like a better version of Flashback, but you had to cast it the next turn. I am interested in bringing in another Rest in Peace at this point. I think that's probably okay. Aven Mind Sensor might be good as well. And then let's just chop out these vials and see what happens. I think I'm okay with that. The issue is it's harder to do like the shenanigans with Fiend Hunter and whatnot, but like at the same time we don't really want to have like a dead Aether Vial that just says, like, we don't want to mulligan to 6, him Thoughtseize us, and just lose the game because like Aether Vial is one of our cards. So let's go ahead and try this. See what happens here. But if anything, we can definitely see like just how powerful some of these interactions can be. This is unfortunate. We cannot keep this one. If we had two lands, we would keep. But I don't think that Dismember plus Path to Exile plus Ephemerate is like a good enough hand for us, so we'll have to mulligan. We'll definitely keep this. Unfortunately, Devout Lightcaster can now get hit by a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition. So, and our opponent is kept 7, unfortunately. So we'll throw a Blade Splash on the bottom. It's the card that does the least in our hand. Wall of Omens is just like a decent target for Ephemerate and draws us towards other gas if he has like a Thoughtseize here. So we want to keep Wall of Omens to undo our mulligan a bit and just really pray that he just doesn't have a Thoughtseize here, but he does. So he's going to take Devout Lightcaster. Very, very unfortunate. Would have been great to get that card down. They really struggled to deal with that card. because it can't be countered. Yeah, of course. Because it can't be countered, and they really have no way of killing it. So, Charming Prince, potential next play. Leonin Arbor's not very good at this point. He's mostly there for the ramp kind of decks, and you can occasionally just get people if you go first. But going second, Leonin Arbor's quite bad. Our deck does not utilize him very effectively. This is also a matchup where we feel the lack of Thalia being in the deck, because they can cast their Mishra's Baubles, and they can cast their ops and stuff like that, and their fatal pushes for very, very cheap to really beat us out on the mana advantage side of things, because all of their cards essentially cost 1 or less, which is one of the reasons they're so good. So there's an Early Death Shadow. He's going to draw another card, and he's down to 4 cards in hand. I do think I just want to probably play Charming Prince here, because we can die very quickly from this point. I feel like Leonin Arbiter can get Fatal Pushed so easily, and then they can just fetch, or they can just pay full mana for the fetch and cast other cards anyways. I don't think he's good enough right now. I kind of just like playing Charming Prince, scrying 2, and just seeing what we can do from this point. Because we really need something like Fiend Hunter to do something to this Death Shadow that's in play. And again, ideally, he does Fatal Push this right here or something like that. So, yeah, deal. With that being said, he might have a Snapcaster Mage in hand, and his whole plan might just be fetch, shock, attack, go. And he might just be expecting to use a Snapcaster Mage in some other way. Or he's maybe planning on just holding up K Command, Or maybe he's going to Thoughtseize this here, or who knows. Or just play another Death Shadow. Sure. My inclination is that he has the blue-black spell that kills Fiend Hunter here. But we will see if he does or if he doesn't. If he doesn't, we could be in a decent spot. Depending on our opponent's draw. We just kind of need him to not draw hot here, and for us to draw a little hot. Okay, we'll take another land. Hit for 6, I think that's fine. Ephemerate, fairly good draw here. Other cards that would be good, just Path to Exile in general would be fine. Blessed Alliance would be good. Dismember's no longer really that interesting. This is maybe the last turn Dismember will be good, but at this point it's doing so much damage to us that it's kind of turning into a problem card. We can pay a little bit for some of the black side of the card with Silent Clearings, which is one of the reasons I run specifically Silent Clearings in this deck, is that theoretically there's some world where you save a life paying for your Dismember. Confused as to what's going on. Is this just oh, okay. Doesn't seem particularly good against me, but sure. Cleric. How about Human? So we will try a Wall of Omens, see what we can get. We get a Plains. We definitely have flooded out this game quite a bit. Nothing we can really do about that, though. We'll go ahead and we'll play the Leonin Arbiter, and the reason we'll play the Arbiter is so that I can trade with the Plague Engineer if he decides to attack with that. Cleric, apparently actually a decent name. Forgot that Leonin Arbiter is in fact a Cleric, and I'm not sure if my opponent did know that either. But, is this guy a Cleric? No. That's, I guess, a Cleric. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, Cleric's not actually bad. That's hilarious. Well done, opponent. So does he look at... He looks at me. Okay, deal. So he's attacking. Unfortunately, that Death Touch. Don't know if I want to throw Leaning Arbiter. Like, I kind of think I just want to put Leaning Arbiter in front of this Death Shadow right now. And just take the 2. Could really use some good stuff here. Yeah, it's not going to cut it, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. But I mean, at the same time, like, we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands in the top 14. So like, what is that? 65% of our deck that we've drawn 65% of our lands already, like in the top 25%. So obviously that's like a little bit absurd, but nothing we can really do about that. We're still in the game. We're just falling very far behind, and we kind of need our opponent to be hitting that same level of luck, honestly, to really be able to do much. In this instance, I'm just going to play out the Flicker Wisp. I'm going to flicker the just like a Plains or something like that, and we'll see if we can't draw like a path or something like that. Unfortunately, like the gap, like our opponent is just drawing so hot right now, right? There's so many cards that just blow us out. I mean, Snapcaster Mage, insane. Fatal Push, great. I mean, more creatures, good. There's like very little in their deck that's actively bad for them to draw other than lands. So if that is in fact what's going on here, then we're fine. But I feel like my opponent probably has a what's it called here? A Stubborn Denial. So we're probably just going to get blown out. Sure. Is there any world where we can mount some sort of offensive here? I don't know. Draw a card. It's another Flicker Wisp, which is not very good. And there's a Blessed Alliance, but that's a little too late, honestly. Is there anything we can do? Flicker, Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer wouldn't be naming Cleric anymore. Yeah, we can untap things, right? Okay, so if we flicker the Plague Engineer, then we untap Fiend. Yeah, I just don't think we can do it. It's unfortunate. This would have been good a long time ago, but we just didn't draw it. Let's see. Flicker, our own guy. He gets his Death Shadow back. There's no way to like kill him by like making them gain 4 life. Plus, he has a polluted Delta out there, anyways. Yeah. If we gain 4 life, I guess we can technically try to gain 4 life. And like maybe he, for whatever reason, doesn't attack with Plague Engineer and we can get him. So that's our line. We're going to stick with it at this point. There's nothing else we can do. What has the opponent got? It would actually be hilarious if he did try to Thoughtseize me here, go down to 3, and then I could cast Blessed Alliance, gain 4, block with Fiend Hunter on his Death Shadow. Okay, dang, I was really hoping he would like pay some amount of life there, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, I could have escalated it potentially. No, well, I couldn't have. So go escalating it could have actually been pretty good. But but we didn't have the mana to do that. And yeah, he's had the Separate Denial this whole time anyways. So it's unfortunate. Wow, just drawing a lot of planes there. Pretty close one though. Pretty close one, honestly. We'll get him next in the next round though. All right, we are back and here with round 3. I think that we've lost all 3 of these so far as well. Actually, this hand looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and keep this, but I think we've lost all 3 die rolls, which is kind of unfortunate. I'd like to see how this deck does when we're going first, see if that affords us any extra tempo, see if we can ever get under, as this is ad nauseum, see if we can ever get under anything really other than, don't know what I'm trying to say here. If we can get under like Thought Seizes and stuff like that. So this Path to Exile isn't doing anything. Really, these walls aren't doing anything either. This Phyrexian Revoker is pretty good. This is another matchup where Thalia is quite nice. The Revoker will probably name Lotus Bloom here. I really hope my opponent doesn't have a Pentad Prism. It's looking like he doesn't so far. Him missing lands would also be great. And if we can get like this Field of Ruin online alongside Leon and Arbiter, we can maybe do some work with that angle. But I think my best route here is to, not draw so many lands and play Phyrexian Revoker. I'm going to name this Lotus Bloom. And I need to start applying pressure to the opponent here. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that route. And again, opponent, what did they do? Put 2 cards on the bottom of their library. That's what we want to see. The downside to the new ad nauseum list is they're quite a bit faster now. They have... Golly, man. Come on. Let's attack first. The downside to the new ad naus lists are they're a lot quicker with the Thassa's Oracle or whatever it's called, the new Merfolk. Draw a card. There's Mangara. That could be quite good if we can find an Ephemerate, because that would help us to start mowing down their lands, and we could potentially keep them off of mana that way, or we could kill an Unlife. So that's kind of what we're looking for right now. This might be a turn too late. Had we had this right now, I think we might actually be okay. But given that we're about to play it the following turn, I'm thinking it's probably not going to be enough for us to get out of this. So really looking for, gosh, I don't even know what we're looking for at this point. I think it's ad naus. Yeah. Yep, Fiend Hunter's not it. Another Phyrexian Revoker would be decent. And honestly, just drawing like I said, a Ephemerate would be great. But I'll definitely take Mangara. Mangara is good. If we can find a Restoration Angel off the top, or if we can find a Ephemerate, we're in business. I may decide to Path to Exile my Wall of Omens here just to thin out the deck a little bit more. But at the same time, like if they're on the Thassa's Oracle plan, I kind of like not going that route. So there's another Wall of Omens. Play the Wall of Omens pre-combat. There's the Arbiter. Okay. So we can actually use Mangara a little bit with Fiend Hunter as well if we have like an Aether Vial. That's kind of interesting. Well, their bottleneck seems to be mana. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go after this white source of mana here, given that they only have one. And we'll play this Leon and Arbiter here, and we'll start going after their mana with Field of Ruin, and hopefully we'll draw like a Ghost Quarter or something like that, and be able to do something along those lines. So glad that we decided to. What is this? Return target permanent. Well, that may undo us. Definitely was not expecting that out of their deck. I expect that we're dead here, given that just happened. But yeah, wasn't expecting Brazen Borrower, and now they have enough mana to kill us with that Nauseam. They didn't show a Seachrome Coast before, so they may have just top decked that. And this might just be Thassa's Oracle time to kill us. We'll have to see if they have enough life. And they're dead. Okay. What did they name? Let me look real quick. Okay, so we somehow got there. They are playing Thassa's Oracle. That's good to know. If they go for like the cheese win really quickly, we can blow them out with Path to Exile. So I really don't know if we want to take out all the paths or not. Even Mind Sensor's not very good. Relic Warder's quite good against them. And Forge Tender is weird. It stops the Lightning Storm kill, but it doesn't stop them from like actually killing you with Thassa Oracle. So I think we're just gonna do like something like this. I kind of want to take out a Path to Exile at least, and I think I want to shave on Wall of Omens as well because it's just a card that just draws me cards. I kind of want to take out Fiend Hunter also, and like maybe bring in Avid Mind Sensor just for Ghost Quarters. I think that's better than what Fiend Hunter's doing. And I honestly probably want to take out another Wall of Omens all the same. We've got it in there so we can, cast it if we draw it, but we're not going to draw extras or anything like that. So let's go ahead and run it like this. I think everything else is fine. We'd really like to see Ephemerate plus like Mangara of Coriander, or like Ephemerate plus Relic Order, and just be able to go after their cards that they have in play. This hand is particularly terrible. I think most Magic players would know why. We just have not had any decent starting hands so far in this tournament. We do have a piece of interaction, which does come down quickly. We do get to draw a couple cards with Silent Clearing. We can cycle Silent Clearing early, but given that we're up a game, I kind of want to mulligan and see if we can't find something that's better, and we cannot find something that's better. I'm going to have to mulligan again, I think. And we'll keep this one. This one's fine, actually. We'll get rid of these. I think of this Charming Prince. Probably like a land. Get rid of Silent Clearing. And we'll just keep like this. I do want this Ephemerate to be able to combo with potential cards off the top of the deck. So opponent's going to scry one off of the Temple, and they put it on the bottom. Good for us. And there's a Ghost Quarter, off to a great start. If we can find a Arbiter, I'll definitely be cashing in on that. In the meantime, I kind of hope my opponent plays out something like Pentad Prism again, because we can just get them there with Phyrexian Revoker. That's something that I'm blindly going to name. Will be Pentad Prism, and we're just gonna Lotus Bloom. Okay, perfect. We'll go after that then, which is actually better for us because Relic Order deals much more nicely with. Let's see. Sorry, just thinking here. Lotus Bloom. Is that the name of the card, right? Yep. Lotus Bloom. Okay. Charming Prince, very likely just coming into the opponent's turn, and probably scrying, getting us towards what we need for this particular matchup. So Path to Exile, not a good one. We'll play the Silent Clearing here. We're going to go ahead and attack and see what we can do. And what we will do if the opponent doesn't make a move on Phyrexian Revoker is we'll probably scry to a Charming Prince. If we don't like what we see, we'll probably Ephemerate again. And we'll see what we can do about finding some good piece of interaction here. So we got scry 2. Even Mind Sensor is decent, as is Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp is like kind of strange here. I think I actually kind of want both of these. I think I probably want Mind Sensor into Flicker Wisp. So it'd be like top. And I kind of want to draw as well, I think. Oh, I need to leave a white in case I need to Ephemerate to save a guy. So we'll go ahead and say yes. We'll move to combat. Attack. Say yes. Mind Sensor. I actually potentially should have saved the Flicker Wisp for like if he went for if he decided to go for it, I could Flicker Wisp his Phyrexian Revoker, and like he would just die to casting Ad Nauseam. Now he's gonna have a difficult time casting Ad Nauseam though, unless he has another Black Source plus like a Simian Spirit Guide. So I'm liking where we're at right now. A little bit shady of a turn for me there, honestly, but I think we're okay. I do want to save the Ephemerate at this point for Flicker Wisps and stuff like that, and I think I'm actually just going to Flicker Wisp on his end of turn to take him off of a mana. Let's see here. Take him off of a mana. Take him off the black, I suppose. And then, again, we will go ahead and Flicker Wisp again to take him off of Phyrexian Unlife. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attack first, get him below 8. Cool. And we will go ahead and Ephemerate now. And we're going to try to flicker that Phyrexian Unlife to kill him, essentially. So if he has the little fairy guy, he can get us here. Otherwise, we win the game, I believe. He theoretically can Angel's Grace here, I believe. So that would blow us out? Yeah, okay. So Angel's Grace gets us. He's going to go get Ad Nauseam and then try to kill us that way? Dang. Oh, I was supposed to do this on my end step so that he wouldn't get it back. Dang. I screwed that up. Let's see if we can make up for it. No. Yeah, we were supposed to do that on the end step so he wouldn't get it, so I punted that right there. All right. Ended up getting it somehow. Okay. So what I was supposed to do was move to my end step because of how Flicker Wisp is worded. Ephemerate my Flicker Wisp. That would lift up his what's it called? His Phyrexian Unlife. Then if he Angel's Graces, he technically doesn't die then. But Flicker Wisp's ability won't give him back the other piece of his combo until his end step. So he'll move straight into his upkeep and he'll die. So that's how we were supposed to set that up. So remember, in paper, make that clear that you're doing out in your end step. Online, obviously make sure you're in the end step before you do it. So get ourselves into another game here. All right, so we're back. We have won the die roll, which is great. And this hand looks very solid. This is definitely a hand I would draw up if I was looking for, just like going into the dark in a certain game. So, really hope that we're playing against some sort of ramp with this. If this is Infect, I'm not as excited, but Mangara can certainly try to do some work for us there. And then Wall of Omens isn't awful against a portion of their deck, neither is Ghost Quarter, so this is another matchup, again, where Thalia does make a difference. And I will say that all matchups we've played tonight, Thalia would have made a difference. But I think that's probably normally not the case. It's kind of unfortunate that we're going to be giving our opponent a land here, but we do have to deal with Blighted Agent, as it's pretty much the only thing that we can't easily deal with, and our opponent's giving us an opportunity to do so. So I will go ahead and play a Vial. Yep, I'll play a Vial. And I will path this Blighted Agent. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pass. I really don't know if I want to cycle my Ephemerate for cards. I mean, I've got answers to most of their other stuff they can do. But I just don't know if Mangara is better than just cycling, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. If he plays another Blighted Agent, crap. Man, that's really risky. And I'm I could just die, What I can do is I can play Flicker Wisp next turn, and I can take him, I can Ephemerate my Flicker Wisp, which would take him off of Blighted Agent, which isn't too bad. But, that also just gives him the green light to kill me. That might realistically be my only shot. So we'll just see what happens here. Kind of running into the worst case scenario right now against the opponent, unfortunately. We've got answers to their other creatures, just not Blighted Agent. Does that change anything, having this Ghost Quarter? Not really. So I think I want on my instep to do this so he can't kick a Vines of Vastwood or something like that. He can also Vines of Vastwood my guy, and then my guy can't be hit by Ephemerate. But I think this is my best option to take away his guy. I'm assuming he's going to have some way to, I was going to say Blossoming Defense, probably his best option here, because he can still kill me with Groundswell plus Vines here. So Blossoming Defense, probably the best possible card he can have. There's Scale Up, and if he has Groundswell, we're just dead. Might of Corrosa works the same. Okay. Yep, so opponent unfortunately had the nuts there. Nothing we really could have done to play differently. We'll bring in Dismember. Revoker's actually not good against them because you have to choose a non-land card name, so you can't name a what's it called? The Inkmoth Nexus or anything like that. We will bring in Blessed Alliance. I will say that this deck is not very optimized to play against Infect right now, but Blessed Alliance One of the reasons it's in the sideboard right now is for, in fact, Death Shadow, Burn, stuff like that. Relic Warder's not particularly good. It can hit Inkmoth Nexus, and that's about it. Even Mind Sensor's a little bit cute. Let me look at the rest of the deck and see what I think. Yeah, I think that the rest of this is fine. I'm a little bit concerned about Mangara versus even Mind Sensor, but we're going first, so let's just see what happens. This hand is reasonable. Again, we can stop stuff that isn't Blighted Agent, so I'm gonna keep it. This is probably a turn 2 Leonin Arbiter from us, I think. Okay, that card's busted. Pendelhaven, Glistener Elf, deal. That, to me, says they probably don't have a fetch land. I think. So I don't really know if I want to play Leonin Arbiter here. I'd rather just... let's see, so he'll be able to do that, and then, okay. We need to play Wall of Omens here, ideally to find us more lands or find us interaction. If the opponent just plays Noble Hierarch here, I'm okay with that. Hopefully they don't play like another Glistener Elf or something like that. But this wall can be reset, which is nice. Hopefully the opponent uses a pump spell here. They do not. And they do, in fact, have another Glistener Elf, unfortunately. Okay. Hopefully this wall will find us a land. It finds us an Aether Vial instead. Okay. So our opponent is doing better regarding mana than us, which is not a good spot to be, especially against Infect with all the instant stuff they can do. The good news is these guys are smaller right now, so these walls can do a good amount of blocking. And he may be inclined to use a pump spell here. Ooh, there's a Blighted Agent. Now we're probably dead, would be my guess. Yeah. I think we'll play another Wall of Omens, try to get a land, and then try to get Aether Vial into play, because that's probably about the best thing that we can do right now. That does just give the opponent the green light to kill us, but they have so many cards in hand right now that I think we're just dead anyways, unless we take the risk right now that they have like actual nothing in hand. But given that they have only played what they've played, I feel like we're just dead. Unfortunately, we just didn't draw the right amount of lands to be able to do very much of anything in this game. So I think we're just going to, we're just going to die, unfortunately. All right, and that's the game. We'll head into the next one, see if we can't get one more win. All right, we're here for the last game. We've lost the die roll. The hand we've got here looks fairly keepable. I'm not sure why this is being so problematic right now. There we go. Yeah, I like this. Just in the dark, I think this is fine. We're on the draw. Yeah, I think it's fine. We've got an interaction with Ephemerate plus Fiend Hunter, which is kind of mana intensive, but we can get it to work if we're playing a grindy game. It may be that Fiend Hunter just really doesn't have a place in the deck. It's kind of seems to be pretty mana intensive, unfortunately. All right, if this is blue-white control, I think we're pretty cool with our current hand. It's going to be a long game, though. All right, could be Storm, could be Blue Moon. Hopefully not Storm. And honestly, hopefully not Blue Moon. Oh, it's the Polymorph deck. Okay. Not sure how this deck really works, but it is another combo deck. I just know that they use this to get a token into play, and then they polymorph that token. It's interesting seeing them float red-green. I really don't know their... Oh, okay, sure. I don't know their deck well enough to really know what it's trying to do. I think I'm just going to go ahead and toss out a Fiend Hunter here. We've got the Ephemerate and the Restoration Angel to get some more value out of him. But yeah, my guess is that this is a polymorph-related deck of some sort. And it may be that they're going to polymorph right here, and we were supposed to hold a Path Exile. But again, I have no idea what this deck is doing, what's going on here. So let's go ahead and crush in with Fiend Hunter. Opponent tries to abrade it, and we will go ahead and just play Restoration Angel. We're getting a little bit low on life here. Slightly concerned about that. The opponent's going to go ahead and bolt anyways. Really hoping my opponent doesn't have Polymorph in hand, plus like draw a fetch land for Dwarven Mine. At this point, given how low they are on cards in hand, but yeah. We'll go ahead and attack here, and I think at this point it's probably correct to play out a Flicker Wisp and probably just start taking them off of the ability to play stuff. So, let's see what we can do. I do want to give that guy to continue to live. I don't remember which planes I targeted earlier. That one, okay. Let's move to the end step. We get our planes back. Get our planes back. We'll Ephemerate again, and we'll take away our opponent's blue. We'll go ahead and sacrifice, draw a card. We've drawn a third Path to Exile. It's not very great for us. Maybe the opponent will shock into play here. Don't really want to cast Ephemerate here, so I'm not going to. Go ahead and swing. We'll play out Mangara. We'll hold a Path for a token, and then Mangara should be able to keep our opponent off of lands long enough for us to seal this one up, I hope. Opponent's going to go for the Abrade. I think we're okay with that. Swing 6, or yeah, 6 here. And I think I kind of want to use Charming Prince to gain life. No, I can use him for Flicker Wisp, actually. Yeah. So instead he comes back. Flicker Wisp can take away source of mana from the opponent and keep them off of any way to win the game here. So there we go. Not bad. I'm assuming that's the polymorph deck, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and see if I can find that deck real quick, see what they're running. Okay, I have really no idea what they're doing. I'm just going to assume that that's what it is. So we will probably bring in Bjornton Fortender, leave in the paths, and depending on what we see, we will decide. I think I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mind Sensor just out of thinking that's probably what it's going to be, and I'm going to take out Revoker because I don't know what it's going to hit. I'm also going to shave Wall of Omens because it's not really doing anything meaningful besides being like an okay target for Ephemerates and stuff like that. So, Fiend Hunter is okay. I think I'm going to go like this and just run it back, I guess. After this match is over, I'll go back and I'll talk about what I missed, what I liked, and stuff like that between this deck and a typical Death and Taxes list. This may be the first opponent to mulligan against us as well. There's another Aether Vial. Probably just going to stay in my hand, honestly. I don't know if I'm going to be casting that until like maybe turn 3, just depending on. Or like if this does get abraded right here, I'll probably cast the other one at that point. Again, part of me kind of wants to cast Charming Prince just to start putting some pressure on the board and use the Scry ability. Definitely putting that on the bottom, and I don't really know that Flicker Wisp is what we want either. It's okay when you're putting a lot of pressure on them and stuff like that, but it's not a great Ephemerate target necessarily. He's going to eat a bolt. Kind of expected something like that to happen. Red and white, and he's also running green in this deck. Yeah, I'm not really sure what list he's running then. So there's another Flicker Wisp. See what we draw here. It's a Fiend Hunter. Part of me wants to Flicker Wisp and then okay. Oh, Remand, okay. I was going to Flicker Wisp and then flicker my land in case he does like just go Dwarven Mine or whatever it's called into Polymorph, because then I could Ephemerate my Flicker Wisp in response to that and blink the token, because Polymorph has to kill a okay, so well he might just be doing that anyways here then. Yep, it looks like that's actually what he's doing. So I assume this is just Polymorph. Yep, it says destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. So like if you could destroy the creature or remove it, he's not able to get Emrakul. Yeah, so Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, is now in play. I think I actually am able to take care of that with Fiend Hunter, right? Yeah, so we're actually going to be okay. The question is, do I want to like bother playing around something like Force of Negation? Well, I guess Force of Negation is just going to be a thing regardless, so let me do this real quick. Alright, we did it, fam. Got there. So now we've got the Flicker Wisp to get his Polymorph again, or we can... oh, he reveals cards, he doesn't actually search. Okay, that's good to know. It's not like a search your library for a creature. Yeah, you just do it in order, huh? Okay, that's good to know. We do have the Flicker Wisp for this if he tries to go for it again. Okay, hopefully we've got him this time. Cool. So that gets countered. And now we have decent pressure on the board, as well as a Vial on 3, and he no longer has a token in play. So a Rebound is going to happen. Aether Vial is going to happen. We're going to say no to that, and we will rebound our Wall of Omens. So this is what the deck is ideally trying to do. Yeah, I guess I will. Well, if I draw a 2-drop, I'm not drawing a 2-drop anyway. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and Mind Sensor the opponent. Silence is fine. Actually, kind of surprised that he bothered to play that at all, but whatever. So I want to cast the Mind Sensor there in case we draw like another 3-drop, like another Flicker Wisp. So now the opponent has to have another Dwarven Mine and another Polymorph in order to beat us from this spot. And even then, Charming Prince should be able to bail us out. So, well, that is in fact another Dwarven Mine. Oh, it has to be untapped, so that's not another Dwarven Mine. Brutal. Brutal. We've drawn another Aven Mind Sensor, which is quite nice. I think I just want to hold on to this Charming Prince more than likely as a possible out to him having another Emrakul, because we can flicker our Fiend Hunter and then take that Emrakul as well. So we're just going to go ahead and say go. I guess I probably should have maybe played the Aether Vial, but not a big deal. We do have lethal as well with the Mind Sensor here. So we'll put that into play so he can't remand it or draw another card into like a Lightning Bolt or something like that. So if he has remand, it's just dead. And we'll move to combat here. Should just be dead unless he has some way to kill something. Even then, he's down to 0 cards in the hand at that point, and unless he draws like exactly Anger of the Gods, we'll win the game. Even if he draws... Okay, cool. So we got 50 play points. That does put us up to enough points to be able to enter another tournament here, which we'll probably do later on in the week after tinkering with the list and thinking about it a little bit more. Overall, Mangara of Coriander really didn't shine there. The main idea behind him is trying to go after people's lands that are playing like ramp kind of stuff. He's obviously helpful against Ad Nauseam, stuff that needs to have permanence in play in order to win. That doesn't necessarily interact with you very much. So like he's very good against Tron. If you can get him down on turn 3 and you've already disrupted Tron once or something like that. Although I guess he is like a turn slow for Tron. Might overall just be too cute, honestly. We might have to replace him with like another Charming Prince or something else that like actually benefits from Ephemerate. Overall, the downsides to Ephemerate are pretty big. It seems like opponents had very little trouble interacting with Ephemerate. They also are dead in multiples in your hand a lot of the time. And I might have to get better about like learning when to cycle them with like a Wall of Omens or something like that. We also never got to like use the Leonin Arbiter flicker effect, unfortunately, which is a little too bad. And you're also kind of forced to like leave a mana up a lot, so you end up like force spiking yourself almost every turn, which is not something we really want to be doing. They also, again, don't do anything by themselves. The Rebound, it doesn't do anything if you like don't have a creature that you actually want to flicker. As far as the sideboard goes, we came up against a lot of decks I probably don't have the best sideboard for. One of them being Infect. We only have Blessed Alliance and Dismember that we can really bring in meaningfully against them. And then there's another deck we played against as well, Ad Nauseam, where we just like don't have a lot of great cards to bring in against them either, unless we like happen to get lucky with Relic Warder or like Revoker. So sideboard really didn't matter very much that game. If we had Devout Lightcaster against the Shadow player, I honestly think we would have won. Unfortunately, they had Thoughtseize, which was basically one of their only ways of stopping that card from just really going after them. So all in all, Fiend Hunter did okay work when he had to, but kind of lackluster without Ephemerate. Same with Mangara of Coriander, and that might just be the real story here, is that like these cards aren't worth playing by themselves because you're not always going to have Ephemerate or always have like a Vial that has Charming Prince or like Flicker Wisp on it or something like that. So we'll have to see. We'll keep messing around with this list and figure out what we can do with it to see if it's viable in some other rendition. Thanks for watching, guys.